Hey guys, what's going on? So we're gonna go ahead and start up a new series as well as the quick tips. We're gonna do a new one called Tactics Time. That is the running name, so we're gonna go ahead and give that a try. But basically what we're gonna talk about is beginner, intermediate, and advanced level strategies and theory that will sort of give you a new take or a new look on some of the things you probably didn't realize existed in the game. Obviously, you know, the champion pool exists, but today we're going to talk about champion pool statistics and what rarities are really worth it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at is champion pool size and their cost. So you can see that it is respective tier 1 to 1 gold all the way up to the legendary tier 5 to 5 gold. And then you can see the champion size for the pool is 39, shrunk all the way down to 10 from 1 to 5 respectively. So that's, you know, you can see already that there's, you know, pretty big shrink from the tier 1 compared to the tier 5. But we'll talk about that more individually, starting with the tier 1 example of Darius. So the Darius in the game, there's 39 of them, as well as the rest of the tier 1 units. So when you take one Darius out of the pool and you put it on your bench to use, you're taking roughly 2.53% of the population away from that pool. So when you bump it up to a 2-star, which is 3 Darius out of the pool, you're looking at roughly 8% of the population, or 3 gold. So even at this point, it's still not that much of an investment, and there's still a significant portion of the population size left. So when you get to 3-star, which is 9 units or 9 gold, you're looking at roughly 23% of the population size gone, which, as we can see, is still not that much. It allows for a couple of other people to potentially have a tier 3 or a 3-star as well. But, you know, it's not really that much of an investment in terms of gold, and it can provide a large power boost to your team, especially at 3-star. So you can see that right off the bat, tier 1 is an excellent choice to potentially go for a 3-star. Let's go ahead and look at tier 2. At TF specifically, I guess, as an example, with 26 in the pool, taking 1 and utilizing it on your team, it takes away roughly 4%, 3.8% of the population, and costs about 2 gold. So when you take away 3 of those units, you go down to 23 units left in the population, and you're looking at roughly 12% of that TF population is taken away from the pool. 6 gold investment, still not that much, definitely worth it, especially because of how many units will still be left in the TF population pool even after a 2-star is picked up. So looking at a 3-star, you can see that visually there's quite a big change in the circle we have to represent our population size, but you're still only taking away 35% of the population size, roughly 18 gold. So it is definitely a very real possibility to pick up a 3-star pretty consistently. You know, various units, especially even if somebody else is going for the same unit, because, you know, you're only taking away 35% of the population, roughly a third, and an 18 gold investment, whilst could be worth in terms of putting forth towards leveling, is definitely a good option for investing in powering up your team. So it's a pretty real option to pick up a 3-star tier 2. So tier 3 is going to be where everything sort of changes when you're looking at a population size of 21. So take Rengar here. Let's say we pick up 1 Rengar. You're looking at roughly 5% of the population size, or a 3 gold investment. Putting it to 20 population, you're going to go ahead and shrink it down to 18 with a 2-star. 9 gold investment, you're taking roughly 14% of the population away. You can see that the shrink is still not that big for a visual representation of the population size. But let's take a look at the 3-star. So you're taking away roughly 43% of the population, or you'll have roughly 43% of the population once you get a tier 3 or a 3-star unit of a tier 3. 27 gold investment, so it's pretty unlikely that 2 people will have the same 3-star tier 3 unit. So let's say if multiple people are going Rengar, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to see both of them have the 3-star. I'm not saying it's not possible, but you're looking at like 85% of the population taken away. So basically nobody else would have to go Rengar for that to be possible or likely. But even then, the tier 3 is really where things start to decline in terms of how likely it is going to be to pick up a 3-star of, let's say, Rengar. So, and that brings us to, let's say, Aurelion Sol, our tier 4 example. There's 13 in the pool, which is not a lot at all compared to the 39 in the tier 1 unit pool, you're looking at a pretty small size overall. So taking away 1 unit, putting 1 Aurelian Soul into play is a roughly 8% of the population of 4 gold investments. That's, 4 gold is still not that much of an investment gold-wise, but when you look at how much of the population you're taking away, it's pretty intense. So then you take away the 3 to make the 2-star unit. Sorry, you're looking at a 12 gold investment with a roughly 23% of the population size in your possession. You can see right off the bat that the shrink is pretty noticeable, from the 12 of just owning 1 down to the 10 of owning a 3-star, or a 2-star rather. So if you look at the 3-star value amount left, you can see that there's a pretty big shrink. You're owning roughly 70% of the population with a whopping 36 gold investment. That is an enormous investment for what would be roughly 30% of the population you wouldn't own. It's quite a big investment, both the requiring a high roll as well as the gold investment. Tier 4s are something you should tend to high roll into, but I see a lot of people trying to go the tier 3 or the 3-star tier 4 units. So like people trying to pick up Cho'Gath and then they never end up getting the Cho'Gath, and that's because the likelihood of it, we can see here, is very small. You would have to own a great majority of the entire population for that tier 4 unit for you to even hope to get a 3-star. And you have to invest quite a bit of gold as well, so that's, double whammy there. Not saying it's not possible, but it's definitely less likely than, let's say, a Darius or a TF. So then our final example of the legendary tier 5 unit will be Yasuo with only 10 in the pool. You can see that it is going to be a large shrink, so 1 down, you're looking at roughly 10% of the population size and a 5 gold investment, shrinking it down to a 7 left in the total population with 30% in your ownership and a 15 gold investment. That's pretty big. It's a pretty big ownership of the total population. And then you can look at a 3-star. Basically not possible. You could do it, but it's going to be an absurd high roll. You're looking at 90% of the population in your ownership for you to obtain a 3-star Yasuo and a 45 gold investment. That is a steep price, and the chances of you actually getting a 3-star are very unlikely. So we could see that an investment in tier 4 is unlikely. Tier 5 is even less likely, right? For a 3-star. So this brings me to my final and next point. What rarities are worth it? So basically, we've run down visuals and the statistics of the population size for just taking off a 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star unit. And we can look at the tier 1 pros and cons. Obviously, that's the highest potential for 3-star. Multiple 3-stars are available per game. However, they obviously don't carry as hard as the higher tiered units at later stars. Right. So tier 3 is going to have the last tier of less than 50% for a 3-star. So it is the last reliable tier to get a 3-star. So tier 4 and tier 5 will be more high rolling. Well, tier 4 will be high rolling. Tier 5 will just be luck, right? It's going to be very unlikely for you to find a tier 5 3-star. Possible, but very unlikely. So tier 4, like I said, still a potential for a 3-star tier 4 Cho'Gath, for instance, but it's pretty unlikely. And then that brings us to our final tier 5, very ineffective, investment for a 3-star because our chances are pretty low, and it is an extremely high price gold-wise. Not even the fact that you're going to have to invest a lot of time as well, just searching for them, but the gold as well is not going to be worth the actual percent chance for you to find the 3-star. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Tactics Time first episode. It'll probably be an intermediate episode, I'm not really sure, but overall, it hopefully gave you sort of a visual representation, an idea of which units are going to be worth more to look for a 3-star, and which units are sort of there to help you make your comp complete, right? Not necessarily like a long-term investment. So if you guys enjoyed it, smash that subscribe button. If you guys didn't enjoy it, let me know how I can fix it. I appreciate you guys stopping by. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to check out my Twitter and Twitch at the Zelph. I stream daily at 3 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget to click subscribe and turn notifications on as well. Thank you very much.